I just discovered my husband's secret hidden folder filled with screenshots of women we know, friends, coworkers, even moms from our kids' team. He says it's harmless, but I'm disgusted and now I'm stuck questioning whether to walk away or stay in this marriage. For context, this is my second marriage. My husband and I have been together for just over 2 years now. I came into this marriage with 2 children from my first relationship, and together we recently welcomed our baby. She's only 4 months old. On paper, our lives should feel full and happy. But underneath, I've been carrying this constant unease, this gnawing doubt that I can't seem to shake. My husband has 2 phones, one for personal use and one strictly for work. I've always been uneasy about that setup, though I try not to let paranoia rule me. The other day, he left his work phone charging on my nightstand before heading out to run some errands. I stared at it for a while, almost trying to convince myself to leave it alone. But eventually, temptation got the best of me. I'm not proud of this. I know snooping isn't healthy, and I won't sugarcoat it. It was a deliberate choice. But to be fair to myself, this wasn't the first time I had gone through his phone, and unfortunately, history has taught me that whenever I do, I usually find something questionable, something that either feels like a betrayal or brushes right up against my boundaries. For example, there was one time after we had a heated argument. Instead of trying to work it out with me, he parked his car somewhere random, knowing full well that I could track it, and then called an Uber to take him to a massage parlor. At night. At 9:30 p.m. The only reason I even knew was because his work phone, left at home, pinged with the Uber trip details. He insisted afterward that it was just a regular massage, nothing inappropriate, but also admitted he hadn't wanted me to know about it. That in itself was a red flag for me. Then there was his bachelor party. Another moment that left me reeling. He went out with his group of friends, and instead of just sticking with the usual bachelor party shenanigans, he tried to meet up with a random girl he'd met while out. He actually invited her to join his group at a nightclub, and then, this part really stung, he shared pictures of her in a swimsuit with his friends in the group chat, like it was all a big joke or brag. I remember feeling humiliated and furious, but he brushed it off as just guy stuff. And if that wasn't enough, there was the night I stayed over at a friend's place. While I was gone, he went to a strip club, even though I've made it clear from the very beginning that strip clubs are a hard boundary for me. He knew it. He knew how I felt. And he still went. So yes, I'll admit it. When I picked up his phone this time, I was looking for reassurance, but also bracing myself for disappointment. A part of me wanted to check in to see if maybe, just maybe, things had changed now that he's a new father. I wanted to believe that having our daughter would ground him, that it would make him rethink the way he behaves. I wanted to believe that he was growing into the role of husband and father in a way that matched the seriousness of the life we've built together. When I tell you my stomach dropped, that doesn't even come close. As I scrolled through that hidden folder in his phone, it was like watching the walls of my marriage collapse in slow motion. Picture after picture, screenshot after screenshot, women in bikinis, women with their breasts spilling out of low-cut tops, women bending over in workout videos. These weren't random strangers from the internet. That would have been bad enough. These were women we know. I saw screenshots of his friend's wife, a former coworker of his, even a close friend of mine. One of the worst was a mother from the sports team he coaches. Yes, the team with kids. She was dressed up in a formal gown, cleavage pushed up, neckline low, staring into the camera. And there he was, freezing that moment in time, saving it to a private folder, like a little treasure stash. But the one that truly made me sick was a video of an acquaintance, a mother I know, wearing a bikini while going down a water slide with her toddler. That image felt different, dirtier somehow. It wasn't just about the woman's body anymore. It was about the fact that she was with her child, enjoying a family moment, and he chose to sexualize it enough to save it. I felt bile rise in my throat. My body's reaction was so strong, I didn't even have a choice. I literally ran to the bathroom and threw up. When I came back, I forced myself to go through every last file. The dates made it worse. Some were from last year, but others were recent. As in 3 days ago recent. So while I've been at home with our newborn, exhausted, bleeding, nursing, crying from lack of sleep, he's been scrolling through his phone saving pictures of women we know into a hidden folder. I knew in that moment that if I confronted him, I couldn't let my emotions take over. If I cried, he'd dismiss me as overreacting. If I yelled, he'd get defensive. So I forced myself into a state of eerie calm. I pulled out my phone and took pictures of everything, every screenshot, every video. I needed proof. Not for him, not even really for me, but because I know how slippery he can be with words. How quickly he can laugh things off, make me feel like I'm being dramatic. When he got home later, I was waiting. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even let my voice shake. I just placed my phone in front of him, opened the photos I'd taken of his hidden folder, and said, "Can you explain this?" The look on his face was almost comical, if it hadn't been so disgusting. His eyes darted around, his lips twisted into this nervous smirk, and then he actually laughed. He laughed. For a solid 30 seconds, he stuttered and chuckled like a teenage boy caught watching porn, until finally he muttered, "Okay, what about it?" That was it. No apology. No explanation. No acknowledgement of how humiliating this was, not just for me as his wife, but for me as a woman. And here's the strange part. I didn't break down the way I thought I would. Normally, I'm a very emotional person. I cry when I'm hurt. I yell when I'm angry. I show everything on my face. But in that moment, I felt almost numb. Maybe it was shock. Maybe it was my body protecting me from spiraling. But I just sat there, calm as could be, looking at him like he was a stranger in my living room. Because the truth is, the ick was stronger than the heartbreak. The sheer revulsion I felt looking at those images, knowing they'd been saved and hidden by my husband, a man who was supposed to be raising daughters, coaching kids, building a family with me. It was enough to override every ounce of love or longing I thought I still had for him. When he said it out loud, that yes, those screenshots were his, that yes, he took them, my heart sank even further. And then came the explanation, if you can even call it that. He told me with a straight face that he didn't know why he saved them, that he would just see boobs and screenshot without thinking. Like it was a reflex. Like the images of women we know personally, my friends, his coworkers, parents from our community, just triggered some kind of unconscious muscle memory he couldn't control. He insisted it wasn't personal, that there was no substance to it, and that he didn't use them to get off. And I'll be honest, I don't believe a word of that. Because if it really meant nothing, why go through the effort of hiding the folder? Why save them over the span of a year or more? Why did the most recent ones date back to just 3 days ago? There's intention in that. There's thought, there's choice. And the way he tried to dismiss it made me feel small, like I was crazy for even caring. But I didn't rage. I didn't scream. I didn't give him the satisfaction of turning this into a fight where he could say I was overreacting. Instead, I forced myself to stay calm. I told him, very clearly, that I was embarrassed and ashamed. That his behavior wasn't just immature, it was creepy. Borderline predatory. Because let's be honest, saving sneaky sexualized screenshots of women you know, women who trust you, women who have no idea they're being objectified and stored away, isn't just a bad habit. It's disturbing. I told him I wanted it gone. Every last file deleted. That he needed to unfollow anyone he had content saved from, cut off access to women whose images he had taken without their knowledge, and yes, even find a new hairdresser, since she was in the hidden folder too. And do you know what his response was? Not, "I'm so sorry, I'll fix this immediately." Not, "I'll do whatever it takes." No. His first response was, "Only if you delete the proof from your phone." That made me furious inside, even if I didn't let it show. Because it was such a transparent attempt to shift control back to him, to erase the evidence so he could later gaslight me into doubting what I saw. He even tried spinning the whole situation into me being the problem, me being the snoop who invaded his privacy. But I didn't take the bait. I stayed laser-focused on the fact that the issue wasn't me looking, it was what I found. Eventually, after hours of circling, he cracked. He did apologize. Not once, but multiple times over the next 24 hours. He admitted there was no excuse. He admitted it was gross and creepy. He even apologized for how it made me feel. And I do give him credit for owning up to it, at least on the surface. But the truth is, I still feel the ick. And here's the part that guts me. I know this isn't about me. Nothing I did, or didn't do, caused this. I have been nothing but loyal and giving in this marriage. I've been emotionally supportive, sexually available, always willing, always ready. I carried his baby. I've kept myself in shape. I have a great career, I manage our home, I do everything I can to be a good wife and a good mother. Rationally, I know this isn't a me problem. But emotionally, there's still that little voice in the back of my head. The one that whispers, "See? Nothing you do is ever enough. You'll never be enough." And I hate it. I hate that he, of all people, is the one planting those seeds in my mind. The man who is supposed to love me, protect me, guard my heart. That man is the very reason I now feel inadequate and humiliated. Right now, it's almost like life is on autopilot. Business as usual. I've pulled back affection, sweetness, intimacy. All the things that made me me in our relationship, but I'm still polite and cooperative. We get through the day-to-day tasks. We talk about the baby, we manage schedules, we handle bills. Outwardly, nothing looks explosive. There are no fights, no yelling matches. But beneath the surface, everything feels fragile. It feels like there's this invisible wall between us that neither of us is acknowledging out loud, but we both know it's there. The timing couldn't be worse either. We were literally about to put down an offer on a house. A big step forward, something we had been working toward together for months. And I had to look at him and say, I'm pulling out. I can't move forward until I process how I feel. That's when I saw it register for him, not just my disappointment, but the real-world consequences of his actions. He's in the doghouse, and he knows it. I can tell he's getting restless with my calm detachment. He tries these little things to poke at me, almost like he's hoping I'll snap, cry, yell something. Anything would be better than this icy, controlled version of me who just refuses to give him the emotional payoff he's used to. But I won't take the bait. I refuse to let myself be dragged into an argument that lets him spin things back around onto me. What really stings is that instead of sitting with me in the discomfort he created, he's been making comments about how I'm letting a dark cloud hang over our house and our relationship, as if my pain is the problem, not his choices. Each time he says it, I have to remind him, I am allowed to feel what I feel. I am allowed to process this at my own pace. Just because he apologized doesn't mean the slate is magically wiped clean. And here's where it gets complicated. I'm not naive. I know I have trust issues. I've snooped before. I've double-checked things before. And I'm not proud of that. But let's be real. The only reason I've ever gone looking is because history taught me that there's something to find. And every time, I've been right. Every time, my instincts have been confirmed. So yes, I struggle with trust, but it's not baseless paranoia. It's built on broken boundaries and patterns that I've forgiven in the past. I believed in him when he said he'd do better. I chose to move forward, to look for the best in him. And the frustrating part is, in so many ways, he is a great partner. He's hardworking. He pulls his weight in parenting. He's supportive in the day-to-day grind of life. If someone were to look at us from the outside, they'd probably think we're a strong team. But behind closed doors, I'm constantly reconciling two versions of him. The man who is my dependable co-parent and partner in logistics, and the man who hides screenshots of women in a secret folder, lies by omission, and chips away at my ability to feel safe and cherished. That's the heart of where I'm stuck. Because when I look down the road, the idea of another divorce makes me feel sick. I've already been through that once. I've already had to pick up the pieces for my kids, navigate custody, deal with the emotional fallout of tearing a family apart. The thought of doing that again with another baby this time just feels unbearable. I don't think I could do that to my kids, especially our little one who deserves a stable home. So then I find myself wondering, is it crazy to contemplate staying together out of convenience? For the kids? For the house? For the financial stability and the routine, and the fact that co-parenting under one roof is so much easier than doing it separately? Could I really live like this, where love feels fractured and attraction is diminished, but the machine of family life keeps humming along? I don't have the answer yet. Part of me feels guilty for even considering it, like it's selling myself short. Like I'd be choosing to survive in a shell of a marriage rather than actually thrive in a partnership. But another part of me, the practical, tired, pragmatic part, knows that life isn't just about passion or romance. It's about raising kids, paying bills, managing chaos, and sometimes just making it through the day. Maybe that's what terrifies me most, that I could end up staying in this half-marriage, half-roommate situation, telling myself it's for the kids, until years have passed and I don't even recognize myself anymore.